Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Dennis Learning Center YouTube channel. My name is Taylor, I'm an academic coach here at the DLC, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about some motivation myths. Let's start with our first myth, laziness. In educational psychology, we like to talk about laziness not as laziness, but instead as demotivation. Usually, if you're feeling demotivated, there's a reason for it. It's not some intrinsic failure on your part, which is often how we think about laziness. Laziness happens when the thing that we're supposed to be doing feels too big, too vague, or too hard. Finding ways to make the task less big, less vague, and less hard can help us overcome that feeling of laziness, aka demotivation. So let's move on to talk about myth number 2, willpower. Willpower and laziness are kind of two sides of the same coin, and in society we often understand willpower as the ability to get yourself to do the thing. But in educational psychology, we don't really understand how willpower works at all. Because we have a lot of mixed evidence about how willpower works, we don't want to give a lot of advice on what strategies you can use to increase it. Instead, what we recommend that you do is work on switching to more of a growth mindset. Swap thinking about willpower as this thing that you either have or you don't, for thinking about whether you have the strategies to succeed or you don't, and what you can do to make it so that you do have those strategies in the future. We want to make sure that you understand that willpower, laziness, and motivation in general are quite nuanced terms, and they're not things that you either have or you don't. Let's move on to talk about myth number 3, waiting for the motivation to strike. As students especially, we like to buy into this idea that we can't start an assignment until we're feeling motivated to do it, and this leads to procrastination most of the time. But the reality is that motivation isn't some genie where you rub the lamp and it'll appear when you need it the most. Motivation is something that's built and usually has to do with whether or not the task is urgent, relevant, or important for your life. If the task isn't feeling like that, or if it's feeling too big, vague, or hard, as we talked about with laziness myth, then you're still probably not going to feel motivated to do the task. What we recommend instead is figuring out how to start the task without the motivation. So, to conclude our video, let's talk strategies. We have 4 things that we can offer you that can help you get started on a task and increase that motivation, even if you're not feeling it, even if you're feeling lazy or like you don't have the willpower. So strategy number 1 is 3, 2, 1, go. This is pretty straightforward and pretty simple, but people really benefit from it. It's essentially just sitting down at your desk, counting down, and saying that when I get to 1, I'm starting the thing. One of my personal favorite strategies is sitting down at my desk, setting a timer for 10 minutes, and telling myself that I have to work the best that I can on a task for those 10 minutes. Usually what happens is that I'm able to work on the task a lot longer than the 10 minutes, and I might even find the motivation to actually complete the task along the way. The third strategy we can recommend is chunking. Remember how we talked about how laziness is often a result of feeling like the task is too big or too vague or too hard? Well, chunking can make the task at least less vague and less big. It might still be challenging, but it'll be more manageable. The fourth strategy that we can recommend is pairing the task that you don't like with something that you do. Personally, I'm not above bribing myself. This means that if I have a task I really don't want to do, I'm gonna go get a big coffee, and that's gonna be my reason for doing the task. It doesn't have to be that the task is important or relevant. It might just be that I spent $7 on a latte and now I really gotta do the thing that I said I was gonna do. The last thing to remember is the eat that frog strategy. Now, you should really look up the etiology of this phrase because it's pretty interesting, but it essentially just means that if you do the worst thing that you have to do in your day, early in the day, that's the worst thing you're gonna have to do all day. AKA, if you eat the frog first thing in the morning, that's probably the worst thing that's gonna happen to you all day. At least that would be the worst thing that was gonna happen to me all day. I hope this video was helpful and that you now understand a bit more about the nuances of motivation and feeling demotivated, and that you have some strategies to help overcome that demotivation and feel more motivated. If this video was helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content from us at the Learning Center, follow us on social media, all that good stuff, and keep watching for more videos from us. Thanks so much and have a great day.